controversy video on YouTube. Fucking great. I mean, I can't complain. It's fucking hilarious. I think it's absolutely hilarious, right? So, yeah.
Publicity.
Yeah, definitely. 100%.
Someone made this really funny video about everything wrong with X and why it's going downhill, and
Oh my god.
yeah, that's what it's about. And it's like, I would say 60% of it is about me. I don't even know this guy, you know. Like, I'm living rent free in this guy's head.
Why X sucks. I'm a total bitch.
He's going on about, you know, rage beat content or like political content that's just spiraling out of hand, and he's like citing my account as like the primary example, the leader of it. Okay, so I posted a video of illegal immigrants doing some fucked up shit in Italy or something, and I guess I'm not supposed to post that because it makes people angry. I mean, what the fuck? I'm showing people what is actually happening. I fucking lived there, right? Lived there. I know what's happening. I'm gonna post about it. Fuck. Am I supposed to just keep silent and pretend that Italy is this wonderful, you know, scenic? It is scenic, but pretending that it's like everything's hunky-dory over there. Like it's a fucking postcard.
You lived in Italy?
Yeah.
Where?
For a while, yeah. Rome.
Rome is a shithole, man.
Wow. Didn't see that was gonna happen.
He's right.
Not I expected to think Rome is like a historic city. It's not a good place to live. It's like Berlin, right? You don't want to live in Berlin. You just go and see there. You're like, wow, this place sucks. This place sucks. It has a lot of history. The history is great, but there's no fucking way I would live here. That's wrong.
It's a museum, okay? That's what it is.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing it's good for.
Exactly.
It's a fucking museum. You can walk around. It's beautiful. It feels like you're walking in a Renaissance painting because you are. You are actually walking in that. And that experience is something I would not give away because you should experience Rome at least once in your life, okay? Like, it's a beautiful place.
Yeah.
But the culture is, I mean, I like the Italians, okay? They're fantastic people, but they do have problems, right? Antifa is a big deal there. Every fucking street is covered in graffiti that is like anti-Semitic.
That's the problem with Italy as well. Like, everywhere is covered with... not Italy, I mean, Berlin is covered with fucking graffiti. That's just Germany in general, but Berlin is especially bad.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's like, oh my god, Germany is so clean. Where the fuck is in Germany is clean? Everywhere's covered by graffiti. And then they're like, oh, you know, poor you don't like graffiti on walls, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, bro... Graffiti makes the city less clean. You can't claim that this city is fucking clean. And then I go there and I see this fucking graffiti everywhere.
Like, outside of one of the places I was living, it had like all this graffiti. It was like, fuck Israel, fuck the Jews, fuck Israel, fuck the Jews. That's literally what the whole wall would say. And then it would end with like some fucking Antifa.
Have you been to Milan?
I've not, but I've heard extremely and bad things about it.
Yeah, okay. I actually had a very positive experience in Milan, right?
Really?
But I've talked to some people, and apparently it's gotten worse since I was there.
Mm-hmm.
But back when I was there, it was a very good place.
When was it? Like ages ago, like a decade or so? Or maybe more?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay.
I guess about a decade, yeah.
Okay, so before the refugee crisis, yeah, I mean, the whole place,
yeah.
You ask any Italian, right? Ask them what happened in Milan, and they're like, it's pretty much unsafe now. It's nothing but, you know, refugees, right? That's all it is. Yeah.
Right.
New Year's was pretty bad. I mean, if you look at the plaza outside of the cathedral, it's just completely inundated in these, you know, let's just call them people who hate Italy, okay? Yeah.
How does that even happen? The government of Italy is pretty anti-migrant.
Yeah, but the city government isn't. The city government's
not. Okay, I see.
It's the same thing in Rome, right? Like, so Rome as a whole, I mean, Italy as a whole is a pretty decent government when it comes to, like, its politics and stuff. But you go to Rome, and they have all these far-left policies. Yeah,
I would not say Italy has... Italy is still, like, a very corrupt place.
Yeah, compared to
Yeah.
like other European countries,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's inefficient. The city has really stupid policies, and one in particular is
Right.
the decriminalization of pickpocketing.
What
So-
the fuck?
Yeah. So like a couple of years ago, there was a law that was passed that essentially decriminalized pickpocketing, and that's the reason why if you go to Termini Station, you can pretty much expect a 50-50 chance that you're going to get robbed, because the people there will like.
Have you
pickpocket
seen?
the gypsies.
Have you ever been to like Turkey, for example?
I've not.
You haven't. In like certain parts of it, like there's people that are like carrying like thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars in cash, and nothing happens. They never get their money stolen.
Safe, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good luck doing that in Rome. You know, someone's gonna
Yeah.
lift your shit.
Yeah, or even parts of America.
It's disgraceful because you can kind of, I mean, if you know what to look for, you can kind of spot who the gypsies are. They dress like tourists, but they're not tourists. It's quite clear. And they'll just be walking behind people and then, you know, putting their hands in people's bags and stuff. And the issue is they get arrested after they get caught.
Europeans.
They get released.
Europeans. If a European tries to ever tell you America is extremely racist, just ask them what their opinion on gypsies are.
Dude, seriously.
Yeah. But you know what? I agree to Europeans. I agree that the gypsies are a problem. This is not a racist thing to say. It's simply a culture that refuses to assimilate into wherever it is, right? It doesn't matter if it's Germany or Italy or Spain, wherever they are. Crime is going to be, you know, bountiful. Because to them, to their culture, this is not a race issue. It's a cultural issue because many of them are of different races, right? They view other people as marks. As in, you can do whatever the fuck you want to that person because their stuff belongs to you. That is just how they view things. In Romania, in particular, they're a big problem because they make the Romanians look bad.
They originate from Romania, right?
Not quite. They come from northern, like, I don't want to say India necessarily, but they travel down like up and down the Silk Road, right? Even like historically, they're just sort of all over the place. They're nomadic people. They went as far as Ireland.
They're called the Romani people, though.
Romani, yeah.
Yeah, they have Indian origins. They can actually be traced to Bihar and central India. But they have been all over the Silk Road, which is true. They've intermixed with a whole host of different ethnic groups,
Including the
but
Irish.
some of their nomadic, ways and culture can actually be traced to India directly.
Yeah. If you look at parts of Ireland, for example, they're pretty active there, and they look Irish, right? But they're not. Culturally, they're not. And you know, you can, if you want to see an example of this, just watch Peaky Blinders. The Peaky Blinders themselves are what?
There's some in America
Afro-Romani.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're in America as well. I think Tucker Carlson did a segment
They made
about
some
them
like
a while
really
ago, and he got
trashy
trouble for it.
reality TV shows.
Tucker Carlson was talking about how they would defecate on the street and they're a problem, and everybody called him a racist, but turns out what he was saying was actually true. And this is not like what people are saying about Indians nowadays. This is a completely separate thing. They've been in America for a very long time.
What is it with them? What exactly about them makes them refuse to adapt?
I mean, it's just a culture, right? I mean, not every culture is going to assimilate quite as well, and they kind of, they band together.
If you take someone from look, what was the previous prime minister of the UK called?
Which one?
Boris Johnson.
His name is Rishi Sunak.
Boris Johnson. Right? Like, take Boris Johnson, right? Did you know that his great-grandfather was like a Turkish guy?
No idea.
Yeah. So his great-grandfather was like a Turkish guy. And, over the generations, that has completely left.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And, the Turkish culture is, especially back then, was quite different from like a European or American.
Yeah.
Right. But now, like his right, that Turkish guy's descendant, Boris Johnson, is like fully European.
Yeah.
Right. Why?
Yeah.
Why can't the Romani people do the same thing? That's the question. What is it about them that makes them difficult to assimilate over
That is a very good
generations?
question. I
Over
don't know the answer to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
The lack of assimilation, I'm not sure if it's on their part or if it's society's treatment of them historically, right?
I think it's probably a combination of both.
It's probably both. Yeah. It's like a bit.
Because they get into crime, right? Organized crime is run by the Romani quite heavily in Eastern Europe. The Sicilians used to kind of have that problem back in the day, when the mafia more or less ran that island. But they've managed to clamp down on it pretty heavily.
Yeah.
And on top of that, the mafia it's not really that bad, I guess. I mean, I'm not going to say too much, but they don't have problems integrating just normal people, who just happen to be part of a larger organization.
Usually, organized countries with just organized crime are much better than countries with unorganized crime.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, look at Japan. It has a very large organized crime, called the Yakuza, but they are part of the fabric of Japanese society. There are places in Tokyo that are 100% run by these guys. You know where they are. They are in.
Well, no, that's not the point I was trying to make. Right. The point I was trying to make is the organized crime people. They they still have some standards. They still have some rules. They're a lot more careful.
Society.
Yeah, exactly, and they're a lot more careful.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They have no reason to kill like random people.
Correct. Yeah.
Right, but if
they have it among themselves.
Yeah. As long as you don't piss them off, they won't really do anything to you. Right.
Yeah.
With the unorganized crime, you don't know. It could just be a random person coming to fucking hunt you down, right? For no reason whatsoever, or because you got $50.
Yeah. You'll never get robbed by a guy who belongs to the family. That just doesn't happen. Not a thing.
Yeah.
And if you were to do something to harm a family member or like a relative, or like somebody who's who's tied to that organization, say the mafia, you'll be dealt with in a extrajudicial manner. And I mean, that's not the worst thing in the world. It keeps society safe when you prevent that from happening. And you've seen this during the riots at the BLM riots, where these BLM thugs, just thugs in general, completely disorganized, went into neighborhoods that were either controlled by the Irish mob or by the Irish mob in Pennsylvania. They went into these cities and they got kicked out, right? Because those guys, they all went to the roofs. They started manning the roofs with rifles, defending their homesteads. You saw this in, where was this? Let me think. In Michigan, where they went to like the Hispanic neighborhoods, right? In Chicago, the Hispanic neighborhoods, which are controlled by like the Latin Kings, for example. And those guys defended their neighborhoods. They actually worked with the police to drive these guys out because they were, setting fires and stuff. And the members of these gangs actually coordinated with the police to prevent that from happening, which is very fascinating. Because, normally you'd think, oh, the Latin Kings are, they're organized gang, they sell drugs or whatever, and their police are going to be after them. But actually the police work with them when it comes to neighborhood defense. Because they live in those neighborhoods. The cops themselves are, members of that neighborhood.
So someone just sent me some Romani folklore of why they steal.
Let's go.
So apparently Romani stole the fourth nail of the crucifixion to repair his cart, the fourth nail being the one which would have pierced Jesus' heart, and that ever since God has granted the Romani people the moral right to commit petty thefts for things they need on their travels.
Wow.
And I asked Grok, and it confirmed that this is actually a folk town that's shared between Romani communities.
Explains why the theft and grifting is part of their culture. They justify it.
It certainly is interesting. Strange way to view morality, I think, but you know,
It's relative, right?
somewhat relative, exactly.
That's why they don't fit in. Because we don't want to live with people who do that, who randomly steal our shit.
Well, and I think that kind of gets to the question of why assimilation can be so challenging. I think that when you have sort of those cultural values that are so radically different from the culture that you would be assimilating into, it makes that assimilation more challenging. I mean, super logical.
I mean, if you want, yeah, I don't know about that, because you sometimes see a lot of like radical people in their religion, and over generations that kind of goes away.
They radicalize us. Right.
Yeah, exactly. And the person doesn't even believe in God after a few generations.
But then you
Right.
have these new recruits, right? Like the guy who who killed a bunch of people in New Orleans. He was a completely new recruit. Took a year, just 1 year of radicalization, and he became full-blown ISIS, right? And to my knowledge, his family doesn't have a history of it. His ex-wife complained about the fact that he was becoming radicalized. I think the foreign minister of the UAE, he summed it up best, right? He said that we know how to deal with these people, and you guys in the West don't. You want to be tolerant, but it's funny how someone who lives in, this part of the world can be completely normal, and then after a couple of years in like living in a Western community where he's among these radicals, he suddenly turns into like the worst fucking person.
Yeah, I think if you look at it, there is like a huge problem in the UK as well, with like second generation people being like way more radical than their parents are.
Yeah, their parents are normal. Yeah, and this new generation is not about that, which tells me there is an external force, rather, the places that they go to, the communities that they congregate in, that is pushing these radical beliefs onto them. It is not something that is ingrained as a society or as a culture, but rather something that is taught. They're being brainwashed.
Like there was that girl which was like 16 or 17 or something that left to join ISIS in the UK.
Yes, I remember her. Yeah,
and
Somalia,
and then they got rid of her citizenship.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. She joined ISIS. She became an ISIS bride. She, along with like hundreds, maybe thousands of other British women, some of them are white even, they, have children with members of ISIS, and now they live in a United Nations camp somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, and no one really knows what to do with these kids because they're growing up, okay? Like the last I checked, they were probably like 8 years old or something, so not really a threat to anyone. But at this point, they're like 13, 14. I mean, it won't be long before they are of military fighting age. What's going to happen to them? They're going to leave these camps for sure. What happens to them? Which country's going to take these guys in? Does anybody want them? They're stateless individuals. Are they just going to be left to roam the world in search of a purpose, or are they going to turn into jihadis like their dads were? This is a very fascinating sort of development that, would make for an interesting spawn point if you treated this like a simulation or a video game. Imagine being born one of those kids. What does your future look like?
Yeah.
I think about that sometimes. There's a child who's born in one of these camps, or say the poorest part of Somaliland, who faces discrimination from his neighbors or whatever. Does that child have a chance to become something great, something good that's for humanity, and not, something that is against humanity? And I mean, for the most part, thankfully, most people don't just accomplish anything at all. They just sort of rot while alive, which maybe is a good thing, given the circumstances in which they were put in. But I don't know. Some of them might, you might one day grow up to be like the next Osama bin Laden or something.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that. It kind of reminds me of this episode of South Park. It's about immigration policy, but they have a bunch of detained immigrant children. And Kyle gets reported to immigration authorities by Carton.
Right.
And he gets
I remember this episode.
payment sent. And he starts
Mexican Joker.
Yeah, exactly. That's how you make a Mexican Joker. I think you could make kind of a similar point here. I mean, it's one of those situations where you're kind of creating the trauma that motivates people to commit those acts, and so we've got to be careful about how to reintegrate and sort of help those people heal.
Yeah. Refugees are by their nature displaced individuals, yes, and many of them went to the UK, to France, to Germany, to Austria, to Sweden as refugees when they were very young, so at the age of 7 or 8 in 2015, and now they're full-grown adults, and they are the ones causing a lot of problems with these countries now. What happens to them? Can you simply deport them? I don't think it's that easy. I mean, on paper it's easy, and it should probably be done, but what are the logistics of it? Will society even support it? The problem with a lot of Western society is that it has feckless leaders who are unwilling to make the hard decisions. You have courts that shut down those decisions. When Georgia Maloney wanted to deport a lot of these boat people, and these are just new incoming people, right, from Africa, who landed on Lampedusa. She wanted to deport them, send them to, Albania, as a part of the agreement there. The courts simply shut it down. They did not let that happen. They said it was inhumane. So how do you even go about getting rid of them? Same too with I think the Trump administration, one of the first challenges that they're going to face is how is Tom Homan going to deport 3 million people who are already processed for deportation, right? The Biden administration has processed them. They are subject to deportation. Many of them are criminals. Are they going to be able to do it, or is there going to be some sort of backlash to even attempting it?
So anyone who has final orders of deportation, or anyone who has come in illegally less than 2 years, or anyone that's sitting in a jail cell, they can be deported very easily.
Yeah. Well, what are the logistics of it? They're going to have to utilize a lot of manpower, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Holding the National Guard.
But every other illegal immigrant, they have the right to see an immigration judge, which could take years, right? But every single one of those, they can just pick them up and send them back home. Yeah. Right?
Yeah. Especially the ones who have been deported before and came back in.
Yeah. But those specific ones, they can be deported without seeing an immigration judge.
Mm-hmm. That's a good thing. But will the states agree to it, right? Will California?
Yeah.
Will,
Minnesota. Also the home countries, the home
they have to accept them.
Yeah, exactly. But also
Mexico.
Yeah, also but for the illegal immigrants that are staying in, who have been more than 2 years, who don't have final orders of deportation, who haven't committed any crimes other than entering illegally, those people can see an immigration judge, and the next available one is in 2028. So unless Trump can bring in 50,000 immigration judges, it's probably going to be way after his term. So he can start off with the few million that have final orders of deportation, or they've been less than 2 years, or they've committed a crime and they're sitting in prison for it.
Yeah. It's not going to be as easy as people think. I think people have this fantasy where Trump is going to 100% mobilize the entire army to just perform mass deportations. I don't think that's going to happen. I think that would be ideal. It'd be base as fuck. But the cities won't work with them. The states themselves will not work with them. Governor Hochul would oppose it. Governor Pritzker would oppose it. Newsom would oppose it. And this is where many of them are. So how the fuck do you get rid of these guys?
Yeah.
Even with the ones that are subject to deportation, there's no reason why, Pritzker want to work with the federal government on this. He simply said, no, I will not help you guys. How do you get rid of them?
I'm gonna have to drop and go to dinner, but I'll be back in a little bit. Later, guys.
Yeah, it's a concern. And I don't know if they have a plan on how to deal with these governors. I mean, I guess you could, threaten to withhold federal aid to these states. That's one way to pull a lever. But even then, is it enough? Right? Is New York, which is, to my understanding, doesn't need that much money anyway when it comes to the federal government, will they be impacted by this? I could see the southern states obviously working with the federal government, no problem, right? They are already on board. Florida, for sure, they're already doing it there. They don't need the president to help them do it. Texas as well, but they are.
Yeah, and then didn't San Diego pass like some law making it even more difficult?
Right, it did. Yeah, it says they cannot work with ICE or any federal agencies at all. They cannot cooperate with them. Not allowed to. Not even the case of like rape. We're not going to deport them because it doesn't matter what crime they've committed. Which is
it's
insane.
like the guy who committed like that act in Germany, who like the Saudi government kept saying, "Can you send him back home?" Like he's responsible for like killing and raping people in our country.
Yep.
And they said no, we're not going to send him back, and then he committed that act.
Yep. It's wild how he managed to trick the BBC into running a nice little documentary on what a good person he is and how he's saving young men and women from Saudi Arabia, when in fact all he's doing is human trafficking. He ran a human trafficking organization and recruited young men into his organization. Wild.
What I don't understand is how people vote for politicians who clearly value illegals over them, like normal American citizens.
Well, it's voting blocks, right? That's what it comes down to. They mobilize a lot of voting blocks. They get people who are already on board to 100% vote, and the opposition, which is like most people who just simply don't pay attention to what is really going on. The only time they care about politics is every 4 years. But for local elections, they could not care less.
Have you ever talked to someone who has no idea how the real world works?
All the time?
Yeah. Too many of those people exist.
Only online for me.
They exist. Even in real life. They'll say, "Oh, Ian, how do you know so much about politics?" That's like usually the question, right? And I respond, well, I read and I pay attention to things. It's not that hard. But that seems to be a high order for a vast majority of the human population, unfortunately. And this is why I also believe that direct democracy will never work, because being educated and informed is a very difficult ask. You have to create a culture of wanting to be informed, and that is not something that I think can really be taught. It is a measure of intelligence, and sad to say, a lot of people simply aren't.
How do you define intelligence?
The willingness to be inquisitive, to be curious. Curiosity is intelligence. Note animals, for example, cats. Some cats are extremely curious. They look at themselves in a mirror, wonder what it is, play with it, figure it out. Some cats look at themselves in a mirror, couldn't care less. Some cats, you can dangle a toy in front of them and they are just not interested. And this is usually how you can measure how intelligent an animal is, a dog or a cat, whether it's trainable. trainable dogs, for example, like the ones who work as, for the police or as aid dogs, right? They help you out if you're blind or something. They're usually extremely curious animals. They're smarter than the counterparts who are just lazy to, like if you show them a toy, they just lie down. They don't give a shit about anything. Those are not very smart. They're very stupid. Those animals are extremely dumb. The smart ones are curious about the world around them. They are interested in seeing what they can do with things, how they can manipulate stuff, which is why birds, for instance, like crows, are pretty fucking smart because you can teach them how to use tools. They can even sort of teach themselves how to use tools given enough intuition and time. Crows, for instance, know how to use rocks to put it in a glass of water to get what's inside of the glass, the water itself, because maybe the beaks are too short, right? But they know this because they observe the world around them. They're extremely curious animals. You can't really say the same about seagulls. They're not very smart. Or pigeons. Some animals are easy to train, some are not. And it's true for humans. If a human is terminally incurious, it is not capable of really being, embracing higher intelligence. They're only good at the most basic of things. They're not cut out for this. And it is impossible, I would say, to get them to be interested in politics or to be interested in how the world really functions. They are only interested in what they eat at the end of the day, or whether they can go drinking with their buddies on the weekend, and what sports are on Sunday. And that's not to say that people who watch sports.
Damn, bro, that was crazy. You catch the game last night?
Yes.
Have you seen that meme?
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah, not very smart. And I'm not saying people who enjoy sports are stupid. Absolutely not. Right? I can enjoy sports from time to time, but people who are only interested in that and nothing else, the world could be going to shit around them, and they couldn't care less. They just want to know what the game.
Oh yeah. Did you see when when England was like entirely falling apart, like the British didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
But like a few fucking football, or I guess Americans would call soccer teams, like got together and formed their own league, and the entirety of the UK got involved. The fucking Prime Minister had to get involved. The fucking MPs had to get involved. There was like millions of signatures to stop like a new fucking league being created.
Yeah. It's absurd.
Yeah, but they don't give a shit about the downfall of their country, but they give a shit about fucking football.
Correct. They don't give a shit about the fact that their energy prices are through the roof and they're freezing to death. They don't give a shit about the fact that 250,000 young girls have been raped brutally over a period of 20 years. They don't give a shit about any of that. They'll say, oh, that's too bad. Oh, I wish things were different. But that's it. That's literally all they care. Yeah.
You know what one of the most, one of the things that received the most signatures in the UK was?
What was that?
There was like a Norwegian football player who was like scoring way too many goals, and one of the highest signatures, largest amount of signatures, was to deport him from the UK.
Okay.
Because he was scoring too many times.
Wow. So they're more upset about that than they are about Keir Starmer destroying the justice system in their country. Nice. Hold on. And this is even with a personal stake, right? Because a lot of these guys who watch football, they're also involved in the protests. You would think that their friends would care about the fact that they're going to jail for 5 years for saying fuck you at a police officer. But nothing. Literally fucking nothing. Excuse me? When I look at the British people, I'm not putting down every British person, okay? But when I look at the country as a whole, it's fucking pathetic. It's like a joke. And they get upset when you say these things, okay? Not the political people who are actually involved in this stuff and they know how bad it is. right? You can have actual conversation with someone like Tommy Robinson or Paul Golding, and they'll tell you how fucking bad it is. But it's these delusional types who think, oh, the UK is awesome. I mean, yeah, parts of it are. Sure, there's parts of the culture that are amazing. But don't you want to preserve those parts of your culture? Don't you want to preserve what makes England great, or Scotland great, or Ireland great, right? Northern Ireland at least. No, apparently not. You care about football. Come on. Wake the fuck up. Snap out of it. You're being fed bread and circuses. The government doesn't give a shit about you. Your energy prices are through the roof, and now Keir Starmer wants to go to war with Russia. With what army? I ask. I don't know, he says. But he wants to go to war with them. Which is fucking insane. What are you doing? And just the thought of sending people to jail for criticizing the police or saying, there's too many illegal immigrants. Doesn't it strike anyone, that might be a bit much?
Yeah.
Russia doesn't arrest people when they say, hey, maybe we should stop the war. They don't arrest people for that anymore. They only arrested a total, I think, like 300 people, and they were in jail for like a day, maybe. But this, you speak out against illegal immigration, my God, wow, you're going to face 8 months minimum. Now, if you're, a big name, they might not send you to jail, but you'll probably get a warning. But if you're just an everyday Joe, a normal person, doesn't do politics, you post some spicy stuff online, maybe on Facebook, and say, I don't like the fact that there's all these weird Palestinian flags flying outside of my house. We should maybe not do that. This is England. Oh, expect a visit from the police.
Yeah, so there's actually so in the UK, if you are a British citizen, you can go to the UK petitions website, right? It's not like a change.org. It's like actually something that it's like an official government website thing. People can like create petitions, and if it gets like 100,000 petitions, it's discussed in court.
Not court. Parliament.
Parliament, I mean, yes. It's talked in Parliament. And the petition to get a football player called Erling Haaland deported got millions of signatures from people in the UK.
Mm-hmm. It's unbelievable. And comparatively, the petition to pardon Tommy Robinson is nothing by comparison. Fascinating priorities. I don't get it. How does society become this brain dead? You don't see Americans being like this. If there's anything you can say, Americans are really, really the best at, and Americans are the best at a lot of things, okay? But if you can say, what are Americans really, really the best at and caring about and, making sure that they don't lose it, it's being political. It's valuing their freedom, right? That's why you had the War of Independence in 1776, because you valued it. You valued your freedom above all else, and that is a fucking amazing thing. And the British seem to not care about having freedom. They'll complain about how they don't have freedom, but they won't do anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
I sometimes feel like the country's best and brightest all went to America, and they sort of left the people who don't give a shit behind.
They did.
They did. I mean, George Washington himself is British.
That's a general habit with Europe.
Yep.
The best and the brightest leave all the time.
Mm-hmm. Look at Italy. All the physicists went to America.
Yeah. They either go to America or they go to the UAE.
Yep. These days, yep. That's right. Plenty of high value individuals over here.
see influencers on the street, which is quite funny. Have you ever seen an influencer in the wild, like an Instagram influencer?
Yes.
Very pretty. They'll put their camera on like either a tripod or rest it somewhere, right? Like on a stand or table. And then they'll walk down. They'll film it. It's fascinating.
The
I
gym
find it
ones.
fascinating.
The gym ones make me very uncomfortable.
Yeah, they shouldn't do that. They should not do that. I don't mind the ones out in the open, in the plaza or something, right? You see them in the parks doing their thing. I think it's cool. I think, hey, you're modeling some fashion that you got paid, like sponsored to show off. That's awesome. Cool. You do you, Happy for them. Some people don't like it. I mean, not here, but like, you see it online. People complaining, these influencers are always just doing the stupid shit. Well, the ones I see, they're not pulling some stunts or anything like that. They're just being, they're like fashion influencers, lifestyle influencers. You'll hear them talking to themselves, talking about what a great place this is, or what they had for dinner, And it's like, that's cool. That's cute. It drives tourism, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got like a lot of the Bitcoin people here, just doing their business. And other.
We back.
Come back.
I just cooked myself some steak.
Nice.
Nice day.
I made coffee and everything. It's crazy. It's amazing how much you can do.
Coffee.
Yeah, do you cook yourself?
Not for the most part, but I know how to.
Cool.
He's like me.
Yeah, I just order out, honestly. I mean, the food here in Dubai is so amazing. There's no reason not to order out. It's cheap. When I say cheap, okay, that's relative, right? I mean, it's $30 cheap. I don't know, but I only eat like once a day, so it's fine.
Maybe I enjoy the fact that it's just actually more convenient if you were to order out. I cook everything and I've done it in like 30 minutes.
Yeah, it's not bad.
No, but in the UAE, especially if you live where
I live,
where Ian is, you'll get some food very quickly, very quickly.
Within about 20 minutes or so, yeah.
Yeah.
They cook it, they bring it over, and the guy literally like runs over or something. I don't know, right? So it's super fast.
By the way, are you gonna check out the restaurant I sent you?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
It's an amazing restaurant. One of the best I've been to.
Yeah, we'll do it. Order now. What's the time for you?
6 o'clock in the morning, but I already ate some gourmet restaurant burger thing, so not really hungry.
Nice.
Yeah, they're open so late, man. It's awesome.
I'm not able to hear Adrian's audio that properly. Is it just me?
He's chewing.
Yeah, it's just you. Drop down on you like.
He's just eating, guys.
It's feeding time. Had a pretty busy day. Had a lot of travel. Well, so
yeah.
And good that I was sick for the last couple of days. Well, that also contributed factor into there are other stuff that's happening. So I'm really looking to see.
Is there anything happening in the news today? Because I don't really see anything going on.
I think the terrorism shit.
A plane crashed in California
Oh,
Into a building, right?
into a building and it started a 4-alarm fire, I believe. That's what I read.
It's a small plane, right? Nothing big. Just
Yeah,
like
smaller
a Cessna or
plane.
something.
okay, that's
Yeah.
good. That's good. I thought you were gonna say another Boeing.
Yeah.
They want.
Do you remember that video clip that I sent all of you on after Donald Trump got elected?
Which one? Oh, that one. That one. Okay, I remember. Yes.
We should play that. Do you have it?
I don't think I have it now.
Should, because I sent it in there somewhere in Discord. Might have it still. I'll probably search by date. Can you search by date and time in there?
I don't think you sent
Yeah.
it. I'm not sure you sent it on Discord. I think you sent it on Signal.
Oh, I definitely sent it on Discord.
No. Are you sure?
Positive.
Could you have shared it in a chat instead of like the main chat, like as in like the group, the voice chat? Does that make sense?
I could probably find it. What was the exact date?
That was right after Trump got elected. Right after, so.
Oh, you're talking about something. I wasn't in the group back then.
Mm-hmm.
Never mind. Yeah. So the people who have been, who lost their monetization are still whining today. In fact, they've gotten worse.
Really? What are they whining about now?
I mean, they're still whining about the lack of blue check marks, and they've gotten to like saying "fuck you, Elon Musk," and like you're the worst person on the planet. Yeah, they're just completely losing their minds.
We should probably go to Facebook and see if it's actually there. Spoiler alert: it won't be.
No blue sky.
Hey, seriously, post the shit that you post here on there and see how far that gets you.
Yeah, it'll be immediately banned. Same in Mastodon. Same in Instagram. Even Gab would get rid of them if we're being honest.
Yep.
People think Gab doesn't have moderation, but it actually does have moderation. In fact, there's so many things that are banned there that are not banned on here.
Kind of ironic.
Yeah. Like, try posting anime on Gab, see what happens to you.
Or having an Indian IP or Israeli IP, they'll prohibit you from enjoying.
Yeah, wow, what a free platform for free speech, right? You can't talk about anime, cannot be Indian, cannot be Israeli. Nice.
Insane.
Yeah. And the only reason for the anime thing is because the guy who runs the place thinks anime is degenerate. Like, what a fucking weird rule.
There's some very great anime out there.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's art. I think if you look at say art, there are bad elements to every type of art. Like, say for instance, is a banana taped to a canvas art? No, that's a mental illness, actually.
Yeah.
Is Vincent van Gogh's paintings art? Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Right,
Yeah.
so that's how we can define. With anime, it's the same thing. If it's a stupid story, okay, then it's degenerate. If it's a really good story and very well made, well, then it's a piece of art.
Yep.
Same thing.
Yeah, Death Note, Ghost in the Shells,
Yeah.
Shampoo, Cowboy Bebop, that's all art. Attack on Titan, art.
Yeah.
Berserk, 100% art.
Yeah. Well, not the anime. The manga is definitely.
Yeah, the Ghost in the Shell anime is pretty decent. I like it.
No.
It's really
I'm
good.
talking about Berserk.
Yeah, okay.
Depends on which one. So the original Berserk was art. The new remake on Netflix is just kind of shit.
No, I mean all the fucking anime suck.
Debatable. Psychopath is pretty good. As is, what is the name of the one where this guy, his hand is like an alien attached to him?
Is it Berserk? And is alien?
Yeah, so he basically his hand gets cut off or something, right? And an alien takes over it.
What?
Yeah, and the alien is disconnected from all these other aliens who are taking over people. And his, he wants to get rid of all these other aliens because they're evil. I mean, it's a really well done story. I know I'm making it sound pretty fucking juvenile, okay? But it's actually super good.
Have you watched the anime? Have you watched these anime movies like Your Name, Asylum?
Yes. My favorite is 5 centimeters per second. It is by the same guy who made Your Name.
Yeah. Is that the one? Okay, so hold on. I think I might have forgotten it. Is 5 centimeters per second? Is that the one is that the one where the guy is in love with this girl and then he moves away and and then at the end of the day, like at the end of the story, she marries another guy,
Yep.
and he becomes depressed. And is that the story you're talking about?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, fuck you. What do you mean that's your favorite? Go fuck yourself.
It's fucking amazing. What are you talking about?
What do you mean that's amazing?
It's so depressing.
Wow.
It's
The
amazing.
story sucked.
It's depressing, and that's why it's so good.
That's by far his worst story.
You hate it? Oh man,
Yes.
I love that one. I love that one.
That
The
one's
duality, man.
Another one that I like is what's it called? It's like science fiction, sort of. Like it's like a place beyond the something. Not the Pines, because that's a movie by fucking Ryan Gosling, which is also a good movie, but it's not what I'm thinking about. The hell is the name? I'm trying to look for a name. I hate how I can't remember the names of some of these animes that I used to watch.
Yeah. I've watched quite a few.
Yeah.
I've watched quite a few. Have you ever watched ReZero?
No, I've not.
I highly recommend you give it a watch. And also, after you do, look into the ReZero If stories.
Okay, I will.
You're probably gonna kind of hate the first 3 episodes.
I mean, it's typical of anime. Oh, I found the name of the one I was looking for. The original name is Beyond the Clouds, The Promised Place, right? That's how I saw it. But it's called The Place Promised in the Early Days. Yeah.
Have you seen Suzume?
Suzume? No, I've not seen Suzume. I need to see that one.
That's also from the same guy as Your Name.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you seen Redline?
No.
Okay, it's like a dystopian futuristic racing, like car race. So like, instead of Speed Racer, like way better. The animation on it is just god tier. I don't think there's anything that really compares to it. And people say, "Oh, art is not. This is not art." It's like, no, he made Suzume. Wow, fuck. Yeah. So yeah, the place Beyond Promise in our early days. He also made that. Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Have you watched Shukigi Kire?
Oh my god. Fire.
God damn it, there's so many, and we don't know each other's things. God damn it.
Okay, just name me a bunch of shit.
Well, I like Ghost in the Shell standalone complex. That's
I haven't watched that.
What's it called? Wolf's Reign is also really good.
I haven't watched that either.
Okay, that's about a family of wolves, and they're kind of like people, like they're werewolves, sort of. But they're actually wolves. They're not werewolves. Okay, they're wolves that take the form of people. Super fucking emotional, crazy good soundtrack. Just really good. What about Eureka 7?
No.
Okay. That is like science fiction stuff. But actually pretty good. Not like crazy. So it's not like Gundam or something. Not that Gundam is bad. I've just never really gotten into it. What else? Claymore. Have you seen that? Claymore is like if Dark Souls was an anime. So
Right.
really fucking good. Yeah. The art style is kind of similar to Dark Souls, super dark setting, very bleak, Dark Ages, dystopian Dark Ages medieval. Let's just call it that. Yeah. Like the whole countryside is full of monsters, and there's these sort of like female warriors. They're called claymores, and they carry
the only animes I think we watch is the guy from Your Name.
Yeah, Makoto Shinkai. Yeah.
Attack on Titan.
Mm-hmm. Full Metal Alchemist. Have you seen that one?
No.
Okay, yeah, you need to see that.
Everyone told me
that. It's like, okay, so if you watch that, watch Brotherhood. Don't watch Full Metal Alchemist. Watch Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, and the big reason for this.
Yeah, I've been told that.
Yeah, the big reason for this is Full Metal Alchemist. They were making it like at the exact same time as when he was writing the manga, and so
right.
they need to have a schedule, unlike the manga, which he wrote on his own time. And so they would sort of like put filler content in, right? Or they would like come up with their own conclusions as to what they thought he would do. And sometimes it's kind of accurate, but for the most part, it's just not. So the story just sort of falls flat in parts. Like it misses the crescendos that he's designing, right? Because he's taking his time. He's making a piece of art here. Yeah, so if you watch Brotherhood, that's like the actual, like his actual story, the like the canonical thing. Yeah. So.
I thought it was written by a woman.
Oh yeah, Sorry, yeah, it's a woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's her story.
Her story, yes, not his. But yeah, no, it's good. The motivations of certain characters are different, for example, because before she would explore them in the manga, the anime would come up with its own reason. Okay, and like the ending is different because they made their own version.
Right.
Yeah. It's not, I'm not saying it's bad, but Brotherhood is better. But it's more or less identical. If you watch it, you'll be like, did I see this before? And actually, no, you didn't. You saw a different version of it.
Have you guys seen Spy Family?
Spy Family, I heard good things.
Oh, it's really good. Me and my friends are watching it.
Okay. It's mini episodes, right? There's like fuck ton episodes.
Yeah, it's going on right now.
Okay, yeah, I figured. Yeah, it's one of those really long, extended things like One Piece.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I watched One Piece.
Heard good things.
Actually, here's my recommendation. There's one coming out called The One Piece, not One Piece, The One Piece.
The One Piece. Okay.
Yes. And because the anime kind of follows the manga, it's very, very slow pace. Like the pacing of the anime is very bad.
Yeah.
The pacing of the anime is very bad compared to the manga, and there's a lot of filler as well.
Yeah.
So once the One Piece comes out, and that's going to be on Netflix,
it gets rid of all the filler.
It gets rid of all the filler, and also it's also going to be much better paced, right? Because right now what they're doing is like they're making like each manga chapter into like 1 or 2 episodes.
Oh,
and
it's
really not necessary.
No, it's too long. Like Rurouni Kenshin, right?
Exactly.
The problem with Rurouni Kenshin is that overall it's actually really, really, really good, but there's so much fucking filler that it's impossible to watch.
Yeah.
So you gotta watch the OVAs, right? The OVAs for Rurouni Kenshin are actually really solid, like super good.
Have you watched JoJo?
JoJo, oh man, I want to get into it. I haven't really watched it. No, I want to get into it though. It seems really good.
JoJo's one of those things you watch, and you completely regret watching it, and then after you finish the entire thing, you're like, that was so good. Right? It's one of those things that you're like, what the fuck is this shit?
Yeah.
And then once you're done with it, you're like, I'm glad I watched that.
Have you seen Blood?
No.
It's a vampire thing. So the original is a movie, right? Very good. It's basically the story of a woman who's like an immortal vampire. She's not a vampire per se, but she's infected with it, right? Vampirism. They made an anime based on that, like a series called Blood Plus, and that's also very, very good. The pacing is very well done, so there's like no filler or anything. Yeah, you should watch that. I believe it started as an anime, and then they turned it into like a manga, and then they turned that manga into a series. I'm trying to look for the one I told you about that's on Netflix. Let's see, Netflix anime about aliens. Let's see, it's called Parasite. That's it. Yeah, Parasite.
Oh,
Parasite with a Y.
I've heard of that. Yes.
Oh, it's so good. It is so fucking good. Yeah, it is so fucking good. Like you can binge it. Seriously, I watched that whole thing in 2 days. Very good.
Have you watched Darling in the Franxx?
No, I've not.
You haven't?
No, I've not.
Yeah, it's somewhat decent. It gets it has a very shitty ending. If we look at the fan base, most of them are it ended around episode 18 for me. Right, there's 24 total episodes, but a lot of the fan base likes to pretend that it ended around episode 18. and it just
Yeah.
went through that.
Oh, I know this one. Have you seen Jinro, the Bulls Brigade?
No.
Okay, that's a
Holy
movie,
shit.
right? And it,
Holy shit, we barely watched the same things.
yeah, okay, watch Jinro. So Jinro is a world. It's set, I guess, in the present day, but it was made in the 90s maybe. It's a future in which Japan essentially turns completely dystopian, right? And you have it's very World War II-ish, like in terms of aesthetics. So you have the Bulls Brigade. They're like these guys in power armor. They are a super elite squad of killers, right? Enforcers, for a better term. Like they're like SWAT teams, and they're all dressed up like those like hyper beefed up armored Nazis. Okay, they got like MG42s. Yeah. It's really cool. Okay, and the story is they're hunting down the resistance. All right, but then one of the members, like the main character, kind of has a change of heart. He falls in love with a resistance member. So like the whole story is him like trying to protect her. It is fucking phenomenal. Like the art style is amazing. And and they made it into a Korean movie, like a live action movie. That's also really good. They're both on Netflix, I believe. Yeah, Jinro. They made the Korean one is also really good, so you can watch the live action thing.
Do you usually just watch things that are on Netflix or?
Well, nowadays, yeah.
Okay,
I used to download it from like BitTorrent or something, a long time ago.
I see. So you never had like Crunchyroll or anything like that?
I never bothered to because number one, they had like too many ads there, and the stuff that they were advertising just wasn't interesting to me because I like stuff like
what you're recommending now. I'm writing down, right? I'm like interested in this stuff, but for what you see on the front page of Crunchyroll is really annoying because it's
if you get it, yeah, but if you got the paid version, you wouldn't get that.
Okay. Yeah, because they look at what they're showing, and it's like Naruto, Bleach, Dragon Ball, and I'm like, why don't you just end my life? Okay, just stick a shotgun in my mouth and just end it. Okay, I don't want to watch Naruto. I don't want to watch Bleach. I tried watching Bleach, and it's like
Naruto is the biggest horse shit I've ever watched.
I can't stand it. It's just too juvenile because like there's better animes that have done that ways than Bleach and Naruto, and I guess Bleach and Naruto all came first, but the anime subverted, right? The movie stuff that they're like, okay, this is pretty popular, but what can we do that's like completely different from this? Parasite is one such example. It is kind of similar as like in the first episode. It's like, oh, a kid gets his powers, but it's actually really fucking dark. Okay, it's not like kiddie shit. You realize like, oh fuck, this is like a serious thing. This is not Naruto you're watching. You're watching something else that just uses the foundation of Bleach as like an idea to launch from. Yeah. It subverts it, but in a very good way. Because that's like a common theme, right? Where, in anime, like the power fantasy is a teenage boy has a pretty boring life, and then something magical happens to him, and then he gets superpowers, and then he's got to fight demons, right? That's just kind of the basic. I forget the genre of it. It is a genre. Well, Parasite is that part of that genre, but it's actually kind of not. It's just using that as a template.
They're talking about some bullshit that they saw on Crunchyroll. Some Sailor, not that Sailor Moon's bad, but like they're thinking of something that's rather simple, like maybe the Pokemon cartoon. It's kind of like saying all cartoons suck, right? All Saturday morning cartoons suck, and it's true for the most part. They all do suck. But then you have a gem like Batman the animated series that was a masterpiece, or what is it, Batman Beyond? That was also pretty good. But that's pretty rare. Most cartoons are not that smart. They're pretty stupid for the most part. You're going to be, your
typical Ren and Stimpy or something. And Fortnite, it's not even a bad game. But that's what people think it is. You know, they think, oh, it's basic. It's just colorful and you know, you're shooting people.
So, Adrian, how's that Fortnite thing going for you?
Well, Mark, I'm not going to play the game. I'm thinking about playing the game, but we could also do it without. Like I talked to him. Should also be able to just do it without.
Right.
I already added him on Discord and everything. So yeah, that should come around. Should be fun.
Playing Fortnite? Nice. Get into it and start building shit, you know, and use that as part of your strategy to win. That's where the real game is. Yeah, it's complicated, and the fact that these kids, can build buildings that are super fast and they have macros to do it. You know, if like they'll press 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 or whatever, or on the keyboard or the crazy mouse, and build at full construction is kind of mind blowing. We're definitely going to see a generation of kids that can like multitask this way. It's not a game like any other, I would say that. Because it uses the environment. I mean, so does the finals, but the finals is more so you're not doing that sort of thing, not constructing buildings.
Yeah. Now we're gonna come up with something good here. What's the fucking name of this thing again? I got something into my eye recently. It's fucking annoying, man. It's been a really shit last couple days for me.
Yeah.
Health-wise, but like for everything else is great. But for some reason, like random bullshit keeps happening and it annoys the fuck out of me.
Good evening, guys.
Hey, good evening. The FBI just released new information about the pipe bomb suspect from 2020.
Oh, really?
When you said the FBI, my mind was like going in other directions. Like you were gonna say the FBI just showed up at my house.
That'd be kind of funny. What if the FBI was listening to this space?
Yeah, so the Washington field office released a statement saying the tips the FBI received so far have helped us to advance the investigation, but have not yet led us to identify the suspect. We urge anyone who may have previously hesitated to come forward or who may not have realized they had important information to contact the FBI. A reward of up to $500,000 is available for information that leads to the arrest and conviction of the individual responsible for this dangerous attempt to harm our community.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
They released new footage of the suspect as well.